everyone, it's GT time. I'm your moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us, as always, is our uniquely talented and knowledgeable panel, including Brandon Jones.
Hello.
Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
In the super seat this week, Matt Blair.
I'm back.
And making this all happen, Ian Hink.
Hi.
Hey, everybody, it's GT time. It feels good.
Feels good.
This is a good, I mean, E3 just, I can feel this right now.
Yeah, we're in the E3 zone.
My bones are vibrating. I can just feel it, like I can just, it's coming. Like a volcano.
Okay.
That sounds uncomfortable.
It's just the best feeling in the world, to be honest. Matt Blair, you are in the super seat this week,
Yes.
so I have a question for you.
Okay.
What is a project you did in high school that you're still proud about?
You know, for the first time, I actually read the email beforehand, and I prepared for this.
I'm honored.
It's not that great of a story, though. But so, like many people, I took Spanish class in high school for several years because it was just kind of easy.
Sure.
But one of the things that we got to do was make Spanish videos, or movies, or whatever you want to call them. And at this time, it was right when The Matrix had come out. So the idea was to do a Spanish version of Cops with a whole bunch of scenes from The Matrix or whatever. And, you know, back then, high schools didn't have a whole lot of equipment, but we had just gotten, like, the first Sony Handycam that went to DV tape, right? Like, it was awesome technology for us anyways.
Yeah.
And so the footage was actually good enough to slow it down. And so, you know, the bullet time scene or whatever, when he's dodging all the bullets or
Yeah.
whatever. Unfortunately, it was in winter, but I was the character that did the bullet time sequence, and we had to film it in real time and then slow it down. And it was perfect, and I nailed it on the first take. And I'm still proud of that to this day.
What did they shoot at you?
Didn't shoot anything, but I had like a little airsoft gun, and I just didn't load BBs into it. So when you shot it, you actually heard like a sound.
And you said this is a mix between Cops and The Matrix. So did it start off
Yep.
inside of a police car, and then the police shot at you?
Yeah, so most of the dialogue was just like in the car when somebody's driving and talking, like you would see in Cops, where they're just narrating something. But then there were just a ton of action scenes. There was a little GTA 3 in there too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're uploading that later today?
I lost the footage.
Oh
It's
my
gone.
God.
It has gone to the ether.
Oh, that hurts.
It's
That
only
one
in my
hurts.
memory. So I have to take every opportunity to talk about it, because if I didn't, then it would be gone. For
Lives
all
on
of
in our
time.
memories.
Yeah.
What is the Spanish word for cops?
Policia?
Okay, I'll take it. Everybody, let's get started with some corrections. Please begin corrections music. We have a lot. Brandon, I'm actually mad about this one. We'll talk about why. There's not a new DC Lego game. There is only Lego DC Comics Superheroes Justice League Attack of the Legion of Doom, an animated movie. And here's why I'm mad. I said, Brandon, are you sure that's a video game? Do you remember that? And you said, yeah, I saw it on Twitter. Yeah, I'm sure, man.
Well, I knew it was a thing. I didn't know it was a video game. I lied. But I knew it was a thing. No, I lied. I apologize. I correct myself. I'm officially corrected.
The book that Ben did his life-changing book report on is Jude the Obscure. Project Cars is not Slightly Mad Studios' first game. And
I would have called out if I had even heard that. Somehow I missed it.
I just mumbled it, I guess. And they are the publishers of the game, while Bandai Namco is the distributor.
Yeah,
much
that
like
always
WB.
gets a little confusing when that kind of deal happens, because, you know, like Namco, Bandai, PR were the ones that were talking to me about the game, which is odd because I was like talking to the head of Slightly Mad for years, and then suddenly I don't hear anything from him, and I just hear stuff from Bandai Namco.
That is weird. And then, so who do you hear from for like The Witcher 3, where WB is distributor of that game?
I've never heard from anybody at WB about that.
That is very strange. Okay, the game Bloodworth was mentioning, which had the special edition, wasn't Grid Autosport, but Grid 2. The special edition cost $190,000 and included a full set of racewear and a Bach Mono Edition racing car. Sorry, and okay, and also the Dying Light special edition was £250,000 and included a zombie-proof house in the UK, not a hut. You got a whole house for that.
Gosh.
This is very funny. Windows.
I'll be right back.
This is my favorite thing about Windows, is that it's got this thing. Everybody's got to restart your computer eventually, and sometimes you forget to. So Windows goes out of its way to say, hey, why don't you restart your computer right now?
Well, it's just like whenever it gets its updates, this computer was just booted up, but you know.
What do you think? Should I do 10 minutes?
No, that's 4 hours. It's always just 4 hours. Okay.
Doesn't it know it's GT time?
Please end.
Yeah, Windows doesn't care what you're doing.
End corrections
Hell,
music.
computer.
Yeah. Microsoft should expect my call today.
Hey, it's annoying when it want to auto-update. Hey, my favorite way to start a show is to talk about some game announcements. And we have some huge ones this week. That's why I'm feeling those E3 vibrations. First announcement, Fallout 4 has been announced this week. What did everybody think about that trailer?
I like it. I've said as much. You can watch another video we put up of us saying that we all like it.
There are, of course, a lot of people that called us out on not being encyclopedias about Fallout, but I enjoyed Fallout 3 and I spent a good 6 weeks or more playing it.
Yeah, but I feel like even a regular human who just enjoys the game would know that the dog is named Dogmeat.
Oh, well, it was many years ago as well.
Okay.
I mean, like once that came out, I was like, oh yeah, that was his name.
Has that been confirmed for 4? Because it's
no, we're just all calling it Dogmeat
because that's
why
the name
not?
of the dog from 3.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And potentially prior games. I'm not sure about that, but we did find out that like Ron Perlman had always done that voice.
Yeah, it wasn't. I think the way that they wrote it in, it's kind of like the Bond theme. It's like if you have a composer that's working on a Bond movie, it's just like, okay, how can I work this in a way that you haven't heard it before? And in the trailer, he's just kind of like, what? The soldiers said that we'd all die. I guess war never changes. Like, yeah, you got to do better than that. For 4, you have to figure out some other cool way. Maybe cut them off. Maybe have like an alien. I don't know, just something else. It's like, oh, okay, Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Where it just has the vibe where it's just like, another one of these, Just in that moment, just in that one line, the way he utters, the way they structured in the script. For him to say those words,
they should introduce a character named War who's always up to ridiculous hijinks, and then the catchphrase of everyone else is like,
that could be you.
War never changes.
That could be you, Ian.
Yeah, that's very funny. They should, to explain to anyone who hasn't even heard that Fallout 4 is happening, in the trailer, the line "War never changes" is in there again. And we gave it a hard time for that. And some people were like, no, it has to be in the trailer. It's like, fine. I mean, beyond this trailer, what do you think of this announcement? Fallout 4 is here.
I think it's huge. I think it's really cool to do before E3 because it's really selective. I mean, movies do the same thing. It's like the beginning of the summer, right before the holidays. Like there's these like 2-week windows where it's literally like we saw it with Nintendo and Square Enix. So they both had their little shuffle. And Square Enix finally,
caved.
Moved, caved, basically. So it's fun to see like, oh, that day, what was it? Was it Monday or like what? When this counter goes up and everyone's wondering.
Oh yeah,
like,
counter is up on Monday.
Okay, what is this going to count down to? And like they had it on their website, they had it on Twitch, like they had their YouTube video all ready to go. And the Twitch was actually late. It actually started like a couple minutes late, like after the countdown actually like stopped.
We know nothing about that.
But I've never experienced anything like that before. But I just thought it was really smart to have everybody like, wow, I'm really excited about E3. Whoa, Fallout 4. And then it's like everyone else who wants you to do anything, leading up to E3 and be like, yeah, but we're going to be at E3 and here's our thing. It's like, you don't matter today. Like, it's all about Fallout 4 today. That is the huge announcement. It's what everybody's talking about. And you had a bunch of questions, Daniel, and I think they raised a bunch of questions, which is really smart going into the press conference, and yet still that was an extremely substantial piece of media showing off like all these different environments. That's clearly something that like is definitely going to happen, has been worked on for a really long time. If they do want to try to sell a release date in 2015, like I'll buy it, like it all depends on the next couple pieces of media that you release.
Well, because let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's been a long time since Skyrim, and that's basically the main thing that the last team worked on, So it's I guess it is feasible that Fallout 4 could come out this year. I just don't want to see any more, things to compete for my Game of the Year psyche. It's like,
I think a lot of people would be happy if it did, though, right? Because a lot of people over the past few years have complained about how we get an announcement and then either we never get the game or we get it 4 years later and it's changed. A lot of talk about downgrades, which is just whatever. But like just the fact that you have a highly anticipated announcement that could actually come out later that year. That's kind of refreshing these days.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think it worked really well for Bloodborne as well. It was, within a year, pretty much.
Yeah, this would be even shorter if it comes out in 2015. And I guess what's funny is Bethesda's own store on their website, you could pre-order the game and it said 2015 on their own site. Amazon had it listed for 2015. I think GameStop did too.
But did they say December 31st? Because that's always a placeholder.
No, they said TBD 2015, which is even more placeholder. But it's reason to believe this could happen in 2015. Another reason why I think it's feasible, and something that is a large part of the discussion about Fallout 4, is that graphically it's a little underwhelming.
which at least is consistent. You know, it's like I think it's really just the actual people. It's that dog and that guy. It was like the environments look really great. The colors really stand out.
I'd say all the people.
Every like colorful is like a word I see come up constantly when talking about Fallout 4. So I think the scale in the environment we're not worried about. The depths of the story we're not worried about. You know, the complexity of just kind of like. I mean, according to the way they're selling in the trailer, this juxtaposition of the old world and the new world. So we could be, you know, it could do like, you know, light side, dark side. Your favorite thing, Kyle? Where do you go?
Oh, two worlds, two versions of one world.
The best.
Yeah.
But I could imagine we're getting a lot of that, like going into putting goggles on or something where we see the past, or like jumping between two characters. So it just the trailer seemed to me to be like, yeah, this is the way our game looks. What are we gonna do about it? You know, like that dog's gonna get right up against the camera. You're not trying to disguise any of this. But notice how the dog moves. Notice how the dog explores this environment. Notice all those details, like the box with the robot came in that was like shuffled in the corner. Like we could pick that out and kind of piece our own story. So as long as you can do that and everything runs well and it's a really cool story, like is graphics really going to be the thing that's going to turn you off and prevent you from wanting to explore this world?
Blood, do you think those are enough good excuses to excuse horrible character models?
I think it's definitely a weakness that Bethesda's had for a long time, and obviously there's only so much that they're going to be able to do with Fallout 4, but I think it's time for them to start looking into like, well, okay, well, what do we need to do to start actually looking like a competitor in this again? Because, you know, their games do involve a lot of character interaction. So, you know, you want to make that better. You want to get up there and be able to compete with Witcher and Mass Effect on that level.
You know, I just thought of something. Bethesda just dealt with the paid mods issue with Skyrim. Do you think they'll start off with paid mods for this game? Like, you know, mods will make the game look better, like pretty quickly, probably. Do you think they'll even try it again for this game, or do you think that would be too soon after the Skyrim Fallout?
I think that whole thing is gonna take a lot of extra thought, and I don't know if that really. I mean, obviously, it's going to be another group of people that try to figure that out, but. Yeah, I don't know that a new game will necessarily help that argument. I think the people are going to be pretty upset if it's not handled perfectly, no matter what.
Yeah, you're right. Matt Blair, are you a graphics guy, or are you the kind of guy who says, no, this looks fun?
That's the fun is always the point, right? Like, I mean, we didn't complain about graphics when we had regular Nintendo and Super Nintendo. It always
Absolutely,
kept getting
I
better. Well, you were not nice.
You know, Genesis was all about graphics because it could do weird, crazy animation things that Super Nintendo
either
couldn't do or didn't do.
We were just looking at Rocket Knight and everything that was like. There's so many crazy things that Genesis was capable of. It's really.
I remember even just like Strider's like big sword, which is like that kind of thing you couldn't find on Super Nintendo, but at least not in its early years.
Super Nintendo could rotate sprites,
right? So
and
totally
do 3D.
Different aesthetic. Yeah.
Oh man, that was so crazy.
But it always comes down to what they're actually trying to achieve, and Bloodworth touched on that perfectly actually earlier. It's like when the whole point of your game is talking to people and getting the experience like you're in a post-apocalyptic world. When you talk to the same face 3 times and 2 of the times it has a different voice and 1 time it doesn't, it's like, yeah, it takes you out of it, and then it just becomes kind of like this quest vendor instead of an actual person that you feel like has survived the apocalypse. If that's what they're going for, then yes, they need to step their game up in that sense. But like, how do you make dirt look good? Oh, I can't see every grain of sand on this beach. Like, at a certain point, it looks good, but the main point is you're going to be exploring this huge world, and you're going to be doing quests, and you're going to be shooting a lot of random mutated characters and stuff like that. If the gameplay is fun, it doesn't matter how it looks. And Metal Gear Solid 2 is kind of the other end of that spectrum for me, where it's like we're on the PS2 and now like the lip movements match up with the dialogue and stuff, and like there were a lot of advancements. I remember that game for that, but more so I remember it for its gameplay and for its story and for all of that stuff. And like that's an example for me of a game that looked great for its time, but it doesn't matter how it looked because the rest of the game was fun to play. And somebody can rip on me for picking 2 instead of like 3, but that's fine. All opinions.
No, 2 was amazing when it came out.
Right, and like the gameplay was better, and the dialogue was better than 1, at least. Everything was an improvement instead of just being like, oh, this game looks the best out of everything, and that's why I'm going to buy it. No, make it look good. That's great, but it's got to be fun to play. Otherwise, what's the point?
I think that's the point that you said, is like whether you're actually going to love everything else about Fallout 4, but then be like, I can't play this because it looks like that. You know, it's like I don't see a lot of people doing that are going to be in love with the game. It's going to be something that reviewers are going to ding the score for. It's going to be something that people are going to gripe about when they're like demoing it on PC versus consoles and stuff. But they actually making that purchase decision, I don't see anybody being like, yeah, I played Fallout 1, 2, and 3, and just like, that dog. Can't, you know.
Yeah, so I was being antagonistic just to be a good moderator, but honestly, I like that it's a little scaled back because we're having so many performance issues with every other game.
And it's open world, and the way that they introduce the world in that trailer is very suggestive of like, take in this room, okay, just this room and what happened in this house. Got it? Okay, now look at this giant city, and imagine every room that you go into also has those little details.
Well, they won't do that.
That's why they like to start in the object and pull back. You know,
I'm going to say that
really get focused on one specific thing. Look at this girl in the hula skirt in the front of this bus. Now look at this whole city, you know. And they kind of did the same thing with the trailer. And so just like following those characters. Somebody pointed out on Twitter that you actually see those parents with the kid on top of the vault when the explosion goes up.
Yeah,
like,
they get torched.
Yeah, I didn't pick that up. So it's just like, sucks to be them. So it looks like...
Yeah, I don't think it's a good trailer.
But just the narrative. It's just that you see these areas and you wonder what happened. Like, why is it that way? Why did everyone choose to live here, trade here?
8.5, not a good trailer.
So I'm sorry. I think it's a good trailer. I think it's a bad story within the trailer. I think the trailer accomplishes a lot of good things that a trailer should do. But like to tell a story of like, oh, we sweep through this house and then they try to escape and then they blow up. It's like, okay, good story.
We also gave as the #1 live action trailer of all time, Metro Last Light, which you could argue the same exact thing.
I could not at all, because that expressed emotions. That showed faces. You know what I mean?
Right,
that actually expressed things.
Well, and it was one sequential story as opposed to like seeing, you know, they tried to achieve a lot with that trailer, with Fallout 4, I would say.
Yeah.
Like they tried to achieve a lot of that stuff, and, you know, maybe they should have focused on the bigger picture, but I think they did it just fine, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. I think it's the right trailer for that game. I definitely do.
It's just fine.
I would change. You know what? No, I would change the beginning of it. I would change the story you're trying to tell with it to have more of an impact there. But showing the scenes they showed, showing is, again, everyone is talking about the colors because they showed colors. You know, that is so important.
They were riding that neon sign.
Yeah,
definitely.
But also, yeah, just like showing a huge like ship, a thing you've like that huge cool like pirate
a Zeppelin
ship
thing. Yeah,
it's like I've never seen this in a Fallout game. Yeah, just show things like that. That's so important. Like, excellent. Thank you.
I feel like there's been stuff like that, but
a pirate ship.
Pirate ship?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, not necessarily a pirate ship.
I saw one in Mad Max. No,
but like there are areas,
ship that was up on a rock.
Yeah, I think there's some areas towards the end of Fallout 3, and then you had like the spaceship in the DLC and the Operation Anchorage. I mean, there's been.
It's not that cool.
Okay. All right.
I also just want to point out that there are tons of things that they could talk about at their press conference with Fallout 4. You know, it's like, what's the story? Who do we, you know, Vault 111, like what's up with Vault 11? 111 is it cool? Is there a lot of people there? Do we spend a lot of time in that game? We don't even see the interior of that.
Does the protagonist speak?
Yeah.
That's the question.
What are the other characters?
That's the concern.
Who am I playing as? Can I customize my character? How does the dog work?
Yeah.
You know, like what are some of these places called? Like, I just think there's a ton of information that they could get into. So,
if I may,
yes,
on that,
please.
Protagonist speaking, would it be a good thing?
I
Yes.
mean, we were just talking about character interaction. It's not one of those things that in this gen you can't be like, well, we're just making the creative decision not to do that. It's like, take a swing at it, you know. It's like it's like Zelda. It's like, I get that you text, but I mean, forever, really? It's like Zelda forever. Like 40 years from now, are they still gonna just like facial expressions and text, like, or are you ever just gonna, you know, make that jump?
I think there's definitely a risk because it's like, hey, the character I'm playing isn't necessarily Troy Baker being cool, but I think it does work for Mass Effect. I think that having dialogue options, and it does kind of warp your character. I think it kind of works.
I think there's a happy middle.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, and, you know, like a lot of people, you know, have a hard time, like, you know, if they don't know The Witcher as a series, they have a hard time, like, getting behind the idea of, like, playing as Geralt. But just from, like, you know, talking to other people in the office, like, even though Geralt always kind of has his own personality, it changes quite a bit based on the way people play and make their decisions, you know, like, he gets into different territories.
Is that too much ambition for something like Fallout? Like
I don't know.
Ian, where do you stand on this?
I mean, I think they could do it. I mean, if they did it like the Mass Effect games, that's the way to do it. You have to have the two options of gender. The Saints Row games they do a good job because they've got like several voices for the men and the women. Has any game ever done a thing because Omar, my roommate, his main complaint about The Witcher 3 was he read a thing like the dialogue choice in his own inflection, so he thought that Geralt would say, you know, whatever it was in a certain way, and then Geralt's like, fuck you, this is none of your business, and then he gets in a fight and has to kill everyone, and he's like, whoa, that's totally the opposite read of what I thought he was going to say.
I've had that in many games.
Yeah.
I haven't had it as much
like
in Witcher as like Mass Effect, but yeah.
Games should put, has any game ever done this where they put like a happy face next to one and a sad face next to the one?
Like,
well,
there are definitely
real clear
influence
about
ones.
it.
Yeah, I think there are definitely. I mean, they have the spells that you can do. It's like you can affect this, and this is, you know, this means you play Gwent. But like, yeah, it's always like dangerous when it'll be like, no, I'm okay, and I'll click that, and he's just like, no, you jerk, and it's like, that's clearly not.
That is not what I said.
What I wanted to say.
My personal favorite, especially from Mass Effect, is like there was one dialogue choice where you just haul off and punch a reporter in the face.
I did that one, yeah.
Yeah. And
was
while
like,
it was
"Oh, I'm a
satisfying, I'm
badass."
just like, I wanted to insult you, but instead I broke your face.
Yeah.
I'll try.
I hate it when that happens.
My Mass Effect story was talking to was it Jack, and like I was just, you know, like this is a traumatized human being. I want to like get her to open up, get to know more about her, and then all of a sudden like she's talking about sleeping with her. I'm like, whoa, what happened? At what point did this conversation go in this direction?
Yeah, that's the nature of Mass Effect relationships. Is you just
Yeah, the only reason you're ever talking to someone is to try to have sex with them.
I hate it when that happens.
In a BioWare game.
That's why my shepherd was James T. Shepard.
explain that joke to me.
With everyone.
Oh, James T. Kirk. I get
There you go.
I finally got that. Okay, so let's talk about another huge announcement, another sci-fi series. XCOM 2 was announced this week. What did we think about this trailer, this announcement?
Almost as good. I thought it was cool because when they started out their little campaign, I was like, you guys are in the middle of the city with all of, I don't think you're going to win this one, guys. Like, it just seemed really dangerous what they were going into. And a lot of maybe in-game-ish. Like, I wouldn't, you know, I bet the game kind of looks like that. But clearly, like, their movements and stuff like that, like, wasn't somebody issuing commands. Yeah, there just wasn't like this kind of bravado and confidence that can get kind of like dull in a lot of action trailers where it's just like these characters go in and kick ass and there's no adversaries that are going to like pose a threat at all. And it's like, actually, I want a threat, you know, like I'm attracted to a game like Bloodborne that's like, you're going to die a lot, you know, so I want this to be difficult. And XCOM, I think from the little that I played of it and from what people talked about it, like it had that edge, that fast, you know, that FTL, like, you know, like almost made it. And so this, I think the vibe, you know, it's what they were doing seemed dangerous and difficult. Seemed like they needed to have a coordinated force to do it. Don't know why some alien creeping out of some building and a guy cutting him in half was like the end of the trailer, but
well, that alien is the same race, I believe. I mean, unless, if it's different, it's very minor.
I thought he was going to like put a helmet on and like pull out a gun and be like, "I'm on your side, soldier."
But it feels like it's the same race from the first game.
The reddish one?
Yes.
Again, Blood, proving that we don't know a damn thing about XCOM.
Okay.
How dare I have an opinion
They were
about
more
this?
like grays in the first one. This
Right.
one looked more
He looked
menacing.
angry.
Yeah.
He had low HP or something.
Well, actually, I think that's what was kind of interesting to me is it sort of seems to be, you know, putting a little bit more emphasis on like a story, because you know the first, you know, it's like you're just kind of, you know, I kind of play it off like you know, like Cold War conspiracy kind of, you know, vibe and stopping these alien invasions that are happening all over the country, and now it's like, okay, clearly something has happened and like we've become integrated as a society, and now you're more of like a resistance movement, like trying to like fight the aliens like with, you know, within the city and that kind of thing. So it has a very different vibe to it to me, and it's interesting that they're really putting that kind of an emphasis on a story or a setup, because, you know, like you were saying, like XCOM's not a game that I really go to for any kind of story reasons.
What would really be nice, actually, I think, and you know, the trailer might have kind of pointed towards this, but then again, who knows what happens once we see gameplay. But one of the main themes of XCOM is that all of your team members have names and they can die and they're permadeath, right? And you just recruit more, and it's just kind of like that. That's the random feature when you try to train or hire somebody. They have a name, they have a type, they have a speciality, that sort of thing. If they start getting more personality and start riffing with one another, and you start to feel like there's camaraderie between that team, like they've been through war, they've been through things together, adds a little bit more weight to when they die, if they die, adds a little bit more weight to you wanting them not to die. I'd like to see that. That'd be an effective way to kind of tell the story.
And something that, you know, they didn't really, I don't know if the characters had names, but they showed off that, like, they're different, they have different abilities, they have a little bit of personality, but, like, we're not really going to we're not going to give them, like, big dialogue scenes together. They just kind of go right into the situation. Yeah, I thought it was cool. I didn't think it was as good as Fallout 4, but I dug the announcement. PC only also.
Yeah.
For now,
gotta talk about
the original was PC only at first as well.
Okay.
Wasn't it?
I thought that was simultaneous on consoles too.
Ooh,
It wasn't a long wait.
It wasn't
waited
long.
all.
Yeah.
Correction.
It might have been at the same time.
It was at least the same year. It was at least the same year, and I'm definitely thinking it won't be the same year for this release. That is a crazy thing. This game is a PC exclusive. Is from 2K, a huge publisher. So that is kind of rare. That
Well,
is
they
kind
have
of.
Civ.
Sorry,
Civilization.
is also 2K.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they're used to just publishing PC exclusive games.
And aren't they both Firaxis too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
So is that a big deal?
Well,
this
I
game
think
is a
I
PC
think it's
exclusive?
interesting that they did the console versions last time around and now they're not. So I wonder if they're like what the reasoning is behind that. Like, is there some kind of mechanics that just aren't going to work this time with the control scheme they came up with, or
have they come out and actually said we're only ever doing this on PC?
No. The game's been announced exclusively for PC, though.
We saw it at the end of the trailer that it was PC and Mac, right?
Yeah.
Maybe at E3 they say, oh, by the way, consoles later, maybe. Or
That'd be the dumbest thing in the world, Matt. Why would they do that?
I don't know, but like they might come out later this year or after the game comes out. They're like,
Yeah.
let's save it for another announcement next year or something. Like, in 2 weeks, play this on your console and your iPad and all the other devices you could play one on eventually. I don't think this will stay a PC exclusive for very long.
Honestly, to Bloodworth's point that maybe there's a reason it's on PC, if it's not sales, which is probably the most obvious one, is you would look at like their sales, there might be a free-to-play-esque element to it. You know what I mean? A sort of like reason that like you can buy like microtransactions.
Oh
some
God!
Sort of,
I would
You
see that
buy
going
new
straight to
soldiers with
iPad
real
first.
money.
yeah, you know, like some sort of
Oh God!
Heroes of the Storm. You know, like some
Oh
sort
God, Kyle,
of
no.
MOBA element is
Don't-
why
don't-
You're just
That-
pulling
well,
this out of your ass.
I
Like,
am.
you don't
I am.
know.
No,
Okay.
no. So
But that's a
I'm
good
guessing
point.
for why it would be PC exclusive. You know what I mean? I think that
my-
Procedural
the
level
answer I'll pull
design.
out of my ass is it's just developed for it first. It's going to
Yeah.
cost money to port it to other consoles. That's
Sure.
the money that they want to save.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because people were talking about like maybe it's scaled back because it is so soon. If we're going to get it, did they talk about 2015 or is it going to be?
This is another rumored 2015, not
So-
confirmed.
it's
So, yeah,
not
I-
confirmed? Oh, okay.
I I don't believe it is.
So yeah, if,
Ian, help
if
us
they're
out with that
thinking
one.
about doing some kind of episodic thing,
Okay.
or you know, we're just going to release a small part of it, and then we'll do something like a StarCraft split or something like that. If there's some
Yeah.
weird PC specific thing that it just fits, that they're like, let's save the money on the PS4 and Xbox One, test how this does, get the announcement out, and then release it soon after that because just this one version is ready to go.
I think that's a fine theory because honestly, the trailer does not communicate high budget. I think you're right, Brandon. I think
Yeah.
it's got a kind of limited budget. This game.
Well,
And that-
compared to what though?
yeah,
Because when you compare it to the first game, it looks better in every way
Yeah.
that
No,
you can measure.
the trailer. I'm talking strictly this trailer. This announcement trailer that was released this week.
That's all we've seen. So that's what we were talking about too, right?
Yeah.
Well, I know, but if you're not going to compare it to other games, you should probably compare it to the first game.
No, compare it to a Civ trailer. You know, compare it to any other thing that 2K publishes. The trailers. You know what I mean? It's just it doesn't.
I didn't see any flaws with it.
Yeah.
We could be getting a CG thing at their press conference.
I'm seeing rumored November 2015. I'm not sure yet.
but not
if
confirmed?
it's confirmed. I'm looking into it.
You know what we should do is just like accept most of the things I say as fact, and then like
And just
really
move on.
double check.
I can actually just look at the press
You can
release.
pretend that
Um,
happens.
I have a
tell me.
funny
Kyle
little
verse,
idea
that
for
can
you.
happen.
If they wanted to do it on PC first because of competitive multiplayer.
What do you mean by that?
If they're going to add some sort of competitive multiplayer to the game, which is, I don't know, maybe it's possible. It'd be kind of cool. Maybe they want to get it out on one platform first and test it before they put it on every other console.
Yeah.
It does
That's
have
a tough thing to
one-on-one
master.
multiplayer mode. It says.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other one had that too, though. I
Did it?
think. Yeah.
I think so.
I remember playing against my friend on the PlayStation.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay.
I think Justin was way into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should talk about that.
Yeah,
That was.
fight
says
back
November.
to reclaim control of Earth. They definitely say that much.
Wait, what? Blood, you're just supposed to be looking up the release
Good
date right now.
contribution.
I think
The-
that was the most interesting thing in
the
in the
article
press blast.
said November. So.
Oh, okay.
I'm excited about procedural level design because
Wait, why?
because you saw the same 5 levels over and over again in the first game. First game's glorious, but that got a little old.
Are there samurai swords in the first game?
I don't think so. I remember when I saw the guy with the katana in the trailer, I was like, oh, cool.
Wait, really?
So maybe...
The reason I think this is
Maybe
a
not.
budget trailer is because of how flat that falls. Just like we're all building up to this moment where a guy pulls a samurai sword out of his back and just slashes an alien
Well,
with
that
it.
felt new
Again,
to me.
it's that
Yeah.
confidence. You know, it's like, oh, well, okay, that guy's invincible. Like what? You know.
No, I just
But
thought
if
it
he
was cool
struggled
to
a
have
little
a
bit, it'd be
class
cooler.
that was focused on
Yeah.
that kind of melee. Like the imagery, whatever, I don't care. But
Yeah.
like I was like, oh, cool, a melee class that's like focused on that.
He's
That's
thinking about the
interesting.
game, Kyle.
Yeah,
You and I
sure.
are stuck on the word
Yeah.
trailer.
I know, I'm super
he's
stuck
way
on
past
trailers.
this. Weird.
I know.
Yeah, because that does feel sort of like some kind of assassin class. You
Yeah.
know, to where like you can sneak maybe past another, like an enemy's cone of vision or something,
Yeah.
a little easier than other characters.
He probably has really high move distance and some kind of stealth bonus. Yeah.
I think procedural totally fits that game
Oh, absolutely.
because that game is like, what's in this house? You know, like,
Yeah.
that's the game.
yeah, the first one
and so if
shoulda
you
had
really
that.
don't know every time,
Man,
creepy.
I love this game.
And then you can't over prepare too, which I do like as well. Just like playing through a game where you know where things are going to pop out is a little less interesting. And
Has
also,
anyone-
you know what is permadeath makes that huge because you're like, oh, my guy died there that time. Now I'm prepared. Now I'll go in. That person won't die there this time. Haha. No, you just got to be prepared all the time.
I don't know
Yep.
if you're. I mean, they don't have the specifics on this, but I don't know if you're retrying the same level, if it'll be the same layout
okay.
each time until you complete it, and then because there are missions, right? So like, if
Yeah.
you fail one mission, who knows if it'll reset or not? Because that'd be kind of weird.
So
I would
real,
love it.
Real procedural or Diablo procedural?
Yeah,
Diablo
I
2.
wonder.
right.
I just also want to say
Okay.
I love the title because I don't have the series list in front of me of XCOM, but weren't there 2 games before they rebooted it? Like way back in the day, like the
Oh, sure.
original XCOM.
Yeah.
There was like a game, and then they had a sequel, and then the franchise went
So
away
you
for a while.
like that they're doing XCOM
and then
too?
no, it just cracks me up because the titles are funny.
I like it.
And
don't.
so it comes back, and then it's XCOM, but it's not just like XCOM that's back, and like this one's just called XCOM. It's
Yeah.
XCOM Enemy Unknown, and then Enemy. What was the
Within.
Within was
was
the add-on.
Which actually, yeah, I didn't play that. That might explain the story bridge a little better.
oh, in the first-person game.
Yeah,
and then you also had
'cause-
Declassified,
Declassified.
which
I
was
was
like the
wondering about
third
that.
person, first person, and that had 2 different titles.
Wait, wasn't that the Bureau?
Right, the Bureau XCOM
Yeah.
Declassified, but it wasn't originally called the Bureau. It was called something else. It was called when it
I think
first
it was called
came out.
XCOM.
Yeah.
That was
Originally
meant to be XCOM.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then this is
Okay.
called XCOM 2. I
Yeah.
love it. It's so great.
UFO Enemy Unknown
Okay.
was in 1994 for the Amiga,
Great.
DOS, and PlayStation. XCOM Terror from the Deep was 95, XCOM Apocalypse 97, XCOM Interceptor 98. This list is longer than I thought it was.
Those were all add-ons, though, right? Right.
Yeah.
A bunch of add-ons, and then 2 unreleased add-ons after 2001.
It's a mini retro right here with Ian Hague.
And then Enemy Unknown,
Going back.
The Bureau, XCOM Declassified, Enemy Within, XCOM 2.
Yeah, so honestly, I freaking love that it's XCOM 2 and not XCOM, some cool word.
Well, it's like
XCOM,
Guardians.
Extinction.
It's like
you
when
know?
Halo 5 is like Halo 5. I'm like, woohoo, Guardians. I'm like, oh, come on.
Wait, so I don't think we ever really talked
Halo
about
5
this
is not
very
good
much.
enough. Can't call it Halo 5.
Who
Who cares about that?
They stated the reason for that,
You
actually.
put a number in a Halo game. No one signs up for that.
They're transferring from doing numbers to subtitles, so
Yeah.
that's why this one has both.
This is the
'Cause
bridge.
from now on, they'll only have subtitles.
There will
Cool.
be no Halo 6
I will say
ever.
this until I die.
Here we go.
If you show that you didn't plan correctly, that's bad.
What do you mean they didn't plan correctly?
They went to Halo 4
Yeah.
thinking there was going to be a 5 and 6. Otherwise, why would you call it Halo 4? You would call it Halo 4, Halo, whatever the subtitle. Because, like,
Yeah.
we're out of the whole new trilogy. We can do whatever we want, guys. We're
Yeah.
343. Like, the slate's clean. No, let's call Halo 4 because we want to get that. It's a new trilogy. Like, oh, and everybody signs on. And they're like, okay, now we're doing 5. And then there's, okay, no 6. And you're like, no, we're through with that. It's like, then why'd you call it 4, 5? Just figure out what you're going to do before you do it. And so, like, people make mistakes. That's been fine. It happens all the time in the video game industry. Us as journalists, we love to make fun of people whose jobs are way more difficult than us.
Yeah.
And the decisions that they make. But when it's associated with your advertising, when it's not only the decision you make for the game, but the decision that you, like, is this on? You get on the loudspeaker and just shout to everybody. And all I see is, like, we fucked up. Like, we kind of had an idea about it, but it didn't have anything to do with the game after this game. It was just this thing that we're doing. And then we move into, it's like how Syndicate feels. Like Syndicate doesn't feel at all like a part of some master plan. It's just like, no, we're doing another one. You know, and there's other guys in some other buildings that are also working on assassin stuff, but we just got to finish this one, as opposed to like, buckle up. You're supposed to like Blizzard, who's like, we're in control. Don't worry. You know, it's like there's nothing we're doing that seems scatterbrained or like rushed or.
You want that Marvel effect.
Yeah, which is also slightly out of control.
Yeah, it's out of control there.
Out of there.
Great. I love getting on your rant. On iTunes, we have a parental advisory warning, and I feel like we really earned it this week.
What the fuck are you talking about, Kyle?
Sorry?
F yeah.
I said, what the fuck are you talking about?
So another huge, well, not huge. This is a micro thing that happened this week.
I didn't even know about this until you put it on the rundown. How did I miss this?
It was so micro.
Tiny Trinan.
Yeah, it was so micro that Bloodworth did not even know about it. It was a Nintendo Direct. We had a Nintendo Direct this week that was 17 minutes long, mostly focused on 3DS.
Wait, the one I saw was 30. Is that just the Japanese version?
Maybe just the Japanese version, yes. In the U.S., this little guy, Bill Trinan, coming out and giving us little micro was 17 minutes
As
long.
we know, Japan's getting more games for their Nintendo systems this year than we are.
Very true.
That's fair.
We should plow right through that. No? So here's some games that were announced. Chibi-Robo Zip Lash.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. We should stop for a sec. What are you saying yeah for?
I like Chibi-Robo, man.
Yeah. But
I mean,
this isn't.
I honestly, I still haven't played the first one in English, but
this doesn't seem like a Chibi-Robo game, does it?
Right. Well, it's actually, yeah, that is kind of the weird part. Is it's more like a side-scrolling like Castlevania type game. He's like using his plug as a whip and like whipping things and like smashing through blocks and like using it to like pull up to higher levels and that kind of thing. So it's a very different game. But you know, I guess you know they've kind of played around with Chibi-Robo a lot. Like they haven't kept him to a single particular playstyle. Every game's been very different.
Yeah, I played the AR game on 3DS. You take pictures of. They give you an assignment of a shape to take a picture of. Well, what's funny is I would cheat. I would just draw it on a piece of paper and take a picture of that. Maybe that's why the game wasn't fun for me. But I was not digging that game. But yeah, actually, I mean, so I have a little suspicious of this game. It seems like, you know, not a Chibi-Robo game. Like that doesn't need to be Chibi-Robo. However, it's announced alongside of and packaged with a Chibi-Robo amiibo, who is essential to leveling up in the game. Like
Chibo?
A Chibo.
Essential to leveling up, or?
Yeah. So like your character is leveling up. That's your amiibo. And so like if you're changing your skins inside the game, you're using that amiibo.
I might have missed this whether or not you said it, but is this Wii U or 3DS?
This is 3DS, and this seems like
so new 3DS. Only basically, unless you have to
buy that weird portal for exactly, Matt. Like this almost seems like an amiibo first game to me.
Yep.
So I just threw something out there, and Brandon, you feel like affirmative about this.
Well, that's what amiibo are.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole thing about, you know, it's like, and you know, as I can make fun of amiibo until the cows come home, but at the same time, it's something that's really smart for Nintendo. And it's something, I mean, I love Bill. I love, like, their personalities are all really great. They're really personable. The treehouse is so awesome, speaking of E3, you know, that they just, like, really get out there with everything. They're like, look at all the stuff that we're doing.
Yeah.
And so it's really smart for you to be like, God, you love Mario, right? And you're like, I totally love Mario. I gotta own this. And, like, there does seem to be kind of celebration of, like, all of their different iconic characters. And so it's what everybody wants. They're like, where the hell's Metroid? Where the hell's Star Fox? Like, where are these people, you know, that we want to check back in with these franchises that they love. And so it's cool that they're like, yeah, maybe this was not a Chibi-Robo game when we first started developing it, but we realized, like, we should get Chibi-Robo out there. We should, like, you know, reintroduce to our fan base that, like, he's still a part of it, is still a part of the Nintendo family. Here's a figure.
Yeah, because I'm honestly, Brandon, I think there's a huge distinction there. Is that like most of the games so far, Amiibo has been an add-on, you know, an afterthought. And I think this one first was like, okay, let's do a Chibi-Robo Amiibo and let's make a quick game using that figure.
It's like all we do is there's like no end to how we can complain about Nintendo.
No,
it's like
I'm
they
not
should make it. No, I know.
This is
like,
everything I want.
I know we're big hypocrites.
Yeah,
it's like they should make more Amiibo-centric, you know, focused games, and then they do one, and it's just like, oh well, this was only made for Amiibo.
I think this is how to do it, though. I think Amiibo should be first. If you're going to use Amiibo, I think it should be up front. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. But if they came out with a Metroid game that the Amiibo was required,
oh no,
right.
Everyone would go insane.
Right.
Chibi-Robo
is kind of the perfect character for this.
Right.
I'm with you,
small
Kyle.
enough
Great point, Matt.
Because
matter.
Yeah.
Nobody, I don't think anybody's ever complained about Chibi-Robo as a concept. It's cool, it's goofy, it's quirky, it's perfect for this. And like this is a way for, like, I'll probably buy the Chibi-Robo Amiibo because it's cool.
And cool and quirky seems to be like the killer sell for Amiibo figures.
Yeah,
it's always
sure.
like the really smaller ones, you know, like that seem to be rare.
And it is adorable.
Throw a little Metroidvania or Super
I haven't even
Metroid
seen it,
for...
and I can picture it in my head being ridiculously cute.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's you don't have the picture, do you? But it's the funniest pose because this is kind of like plopped down, like he's a
little exhausted.
It's like he's sitting. He's sitting at a picnic.
Yeah.
Like his legs are out in front of him. He's got his plug on his head. It's just It's not really a pose. He's just kind of hanging out.
So we had some more game announcements. Of course, Dr. Mario Miracle Cure. Slurred my way through that one. That is a 3DS Dr. Mario game. We know how I feel about Dr. Mario. We have Little Battler's Experience.
Don't.
Okay.
Don't enable him.
Okay. Little Battler's Experience. I looked this up. This was a game that was called it's got a very different name in Japan. It's like Balls something. So
you're like Balls something.
Yeah. Today I am, I guess. This is Little Battler's Experience. This is the first time it's in the U.S., I guess. It's like a little robot building game for 3DS, so that's kind of cool. Exactly. It's like okay. We'll have Kyle play that one.
Right.
We have.
I wonder. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that they're pulling that out. Because they also had Custom Robo, which never really took off in the States.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen anything from that franchise forever.
This one has a nice associated toy line, though, that toys that look cool.
Right.
Like you build the toys.
But I mean,
in real
Custom
life
Robo could have cool toys or cool amiibo.
Custom Robo could have cool amiibo. That's a drop ball right there. What else was in this? Oh, Project Treasure. We made fun of the announcement of Project Treasure.
I'll still make fun of Project Treasure.
Sure. This is an exclusive Wii U title from Bandai Namco that is free to play. And now we saw it in action for the first time. And so it's 4 players. You're kind of dungeon crawling together like a third-person shooter type of game. Action game, I guess I would call it. Third-person action game. And why are you making fun of this game?
It just looks really simple. It looks like environments. It's like, I'm going to get sick of that in 4 minutes and 38 seconds. I'm just like, okay, I get it. Like maybe the classes are different and that changes things up, but it just seemed pretty mindless.
We're talking cheap dungeon crawler clone sort of thing.
Yeah. Just like imagine Dragon Quest Heroes with 1/8 of the enemies in a extremely confined space instead of being in this like amazing, right? But free to play.
So. Or imagine Deep Down, but with less graphics.
Yeah.
Way less. No, clear arcade, like Soul Calibur circa 2002 kind of like visual aesthetic.
Yeah, I was very surprised by this game, to be honest. It doesn't make sense it's free to play. It doesn't make sense Bandai Namco is making it exclusively for the Wii U.
But this could be based on some trend that's in Japan that I'm not aware of, or some franchise that's selling really well for some other company or them. That they're like, oh, let's make one of those.
If it plays anything like Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2, I'm in.
The characters are not going to be like that. No, the characters are sort of
I guarantee it won't, but...
cool characters.
Yeah, they're like kind of modern.
Yeah.
So
what?
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of threw me off too, because like I was expecting something that was a little bit more, fantasy, medieval, or whatever. It's like, oh, like these guys look like they just kind of came out of Tokyo or something.
Yeah, but they're treasure hunters. They want treasure all the same.
And it's free. You can't complain about free.
It's very interesting. We'll see if that can work on the Wii U.
A lot of people complain about free.
Oh, I just did.
Yep.
It's recorded.
Sure, let's wrap up Nintendo. Let's talk about one last thing. Oh, Splatoon. Splatoon unlocked its ranked mode almost immediately. Unlocked it on Monday, and game released on Friday. This was a complaint amongst a lot of people of just like that they were holding it back. Nintendo said, well, when enough people reach level 10, we'll unlock ranked mode. And they're like, oh, okay, that happened really fast. Here it is. And then released a new multiplayer map and also a new weapon. I think, though, that there was no install for those. I think those already existed in the game. So do we have a problem with this when it's free DLC, on-disc DLC? Do you know what I mean? Is that cool?
Sure. I mean, they're trying something.
Sure.
Right? Like that. I think that shows that they at least understand the fact that multiplayer can get stale for a lot of people, and they want to try to do something to shake it up for those people.
Space it out.
Right. I mean, that for me translates into, and say what you will about its effectiveness, like maybe it's not working whatsoever, but they're not charging you anything extra. You bought your game, you're not paying a membership, you're not paying for updates. They just want to try to make the longevity better. It's an attempt. That's a good sign to me. I don't see anything wrong with it.
I'm kind of with you there, Matt. I guess the opposite side would say I spent $60 for this game. I want all of the content. What would you say to that person?
Shut up.
Ouch.
No, honestly, like you got $60 worth of game day one, right? I mean, is anybody going to deny that? Oh, 2 weeks later, you find out that there was a new gun and you just can use it now, and you're like, oh man, I was gypped 2 weeks ago. Come on.
There's a lot of game. There's a lot to Splatoon. I played through the single player. I freaking love it, you know, and a little bit of multiplayer. Didn't get to level 10, but I got to level 7. And yeah, I had my time with it. I'm pretty good. I'm all set.
Yeah, I mean, well, and two, it's like Nintendo was very clear that ranked battle would be unlocked after launch, because and for very logistical reasons. It's like they want to make sure there's enough of a population so that you're not sitting in that lobby forever.
Sure.
You know, and
well, also you're not like, you know, you don't have those people that are playing it for 24 hours a day. Like it allows you enough time to play to get to a point where I think
everyone's at the same level, you mean?
Well, no, but the level pools are a little bit more well defined before you start with ranked. Because if you just start at level 1 or whatever, and I don't know, I think the way that they probably do their matchmaking with ranked, because that's a common problem with almost all ranked multiplayer games, right? Is like a week after launch, you have the people that have been playing nonstop and they just own everybody else as soon as they get in there or whatever. So like maybe that just gives you more time for the rank pool to kind of even out, so that the best of the best are playing the best of the best, and then the newbies are playing the newbies, and you kind of you've had enough time to identify who those people are. Or maybe it's as simple as they just want people to have enough time with the game to get good, to feel like they have a chance with ranked mode. It's one or the other.
It's one of the things that sounded so stupid when they announced it. I said, what are you doing? And then, you know, after it is in our hands, it's like, oh, this kind of makes sense.
I just wonder if you can't try a pre-launch. It's really exciting what they've been doing in the last couple E3s, where they had like the Smash Brothers tournament, now they're having the Nintendo World Championship. Like, if you need a couple days for everybody to get up to 10, do that before launch. Like, do like an early launch for like people that subscribe to Nintendo in some way, people that are part of, like, the name changes every year, but how can I like subscribe to Nintendo, basically? What's that called?
Wait, what?
You know, you like, isn't there like something you have to like, well, not give them money, but
you
like
some Nintendo Network?
Yeah, whatever you like.
Oh,
you know,
sure.
like we have like your code or your thing where you get email updates and all that stuff.
No, Brandon, that makes it worse. That makes it so even the people who are more hardcore are super hardcore.
Well, you have like, you know, just some pool or something like that where like you can, you know, enter to be a part of the pre-launch of Splatoon to like bulk up the multiplayer audience, and then like, you know, 20,000 people get picked for that, and then they get the game early, like a week earlier or something, get to play, get buzz going.
Oh, man.
That's a pretty ballsy thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just to assume that you're going to have that many people playing.
I think having a mode that doesn't activate until days after your game launch is also ballsy. You know, it's like, I don't think either one. I'm just trying to pick the lesser evil here. If you built your game that way, if for some reason you're like, yeah, we can't do that, it doesn't really make sense to me.
I'm not sure if you guys know this, but Heroes of the Storm does a similar but not same thing, where I think you have to get to level 20 as your account needs to get to level 20 to start playing.
30, I think.
30? Thank you,
I think
Ian.
it's 30 for the one and then 40 for the other. It might be 20.
Yeah, like you have to play a lot of the game, and you have to kind of, you don't have to master it, but you just have to be familiar enough with it before you can even start like the league play and the ranked play. And
I definitely dig
League
that.
of Legends, I think, does that too. You have to get level 30 before you can do the like hardcore ranked games or whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, they definitely did it first, I'm sure, but that was just my first experience with it.
Does this not have some kind of, until you're level 10, you're just playing for fun no matter what in Splatoon?
No, you level up, but I mean, you will be matched with people from level 20 to level 1, and it's not auto balancing.
Weird. So it only auto balances once you're at level 10?
Once you go into ranked, once you're starting to play ranked matches, I think.
So why wouldn't it all just be ranked from the beginning? And if you're at level 1, it matches you with level 1 people. This makes no sense.
I think just because you're goofing around. You're just goofing around in that first mode in Turf Wars.
But if I'm a level 1 person and I go into this game and I get matched against level 20 people and get decimated, I'm like, screw this game.
But it's the way that the game's designed, because like they're not just like ranked and unranked, they're actually different game modes.
Yeah.
And so the unranked Turf Wars, like, it's not dependent on you like being good in a shootout against another guy. I mean, you just run around the map and paint the map, you know, so you can actually be the best player and not even run across another person. Whereas when you're in ranked, it's like you're in a more confined space, you're constantly in the face of the other team.
One target. Yeah. It's like King of the Hill, basically.
So it makes more sense to be familiar with it at that point.
Yeah. It's cool. I'm pro it. I was definitely against it. I definitely thought it looked stupid, and this is another weird Nintendo thing that looks stupid but turned out to be smart, I feel like.
I have a question.
Okay, what is it?
Just general not Nintendo-centric question, just a question. Am I just forgetting? Are there always this many huge game announcements 10 days before E3?
Usually
Like
they're
Fallout
leaked.
4, XCOM 2, like did they
not every
announce
year, but
Fallout
yeah.
4 because it was about to get leaked or something? Because
Well-
I'm like, what is Bethesda's press conference gonna like? There's gonna be no like wow moment.
There
gameplay.
definitely will be. There's
Oh,
a-
gameplay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You'll see
Gameplay, I
them
don't
actually
care,
doing a
but a
demo,
game I've
or
already seen.
That's a big deal for
the
them.
Del Toro trailer, whatever he's working on, some cool live action thing, like the story, really, of Fallout 4. Like,
What's actually really funny, Ian, about your history thing is that we used to have GTTV. We used to have a TV show. And every year, Jeff Keighley would get to announce 1 or 2 games on that show that wouldn't make it into a press conference. And so, I mean, Bethesda obviously would have, but I'm not sure XCOM 2 would have made it into anybody's press conference. So it was a good idea to release that trailer this week. And that's generally what GTTV would be. Like, that's why we announced, like, Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2, I think, was on GTTV.
Right,
Well,
but
it's
usually
like-
it's crappy games.
Oh, and
not
Star Wars
XCOM
1313,
2.
actually. Star Wars 1313 we announced on
Yeah.
GTTV ahead of E3.
you have to imagine like 8 dudes that are about to get in like a brawl, right? You know, like a cartoon, like, you know, Warner Brothers, like they just jump in this big cloud of smoke.
So this is Wacky Races.
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
it's like Brawl in Hearthstone. You literally
Okay.
throw all the cards in, and one card comes out randomly, and like
Yeah, I hate
that's
that
like
card,
that's
by
like
the
the
way.
winner. So you have all these 8 guys, you know, waiting for, you know, June 14th to like step in the ring, start beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
And this is like if one guy went over to another guy, and just kicked him in the ribs, like when the ref wasn't looking. And
Yeah.
it's just like that is going to work out for him, whether like he ends up beating that guy personally, or whether that guy just gets beat up because he got a little bit ahead. But it's just Bethesda being like, these 2-3 days before E3, hours. Oh, and then, you know, tune in. Please be excited for our Sunday press conference.
Well, like the weird thing to me is like the exciting part of E3 is like confirmation of rumored games and announcements of games you had no idea were coming. and then you're
Megatons.
Like, holy crap!
Yeah, we call those megatons.
Yeah,
But
and like,
those inevitably just
3
get
of
you
those have been
talking about the
announced
game.
already.
Yeah.
Whereas I still think people are going to be talking a lot Sunday night.
Yeah.
Because nothing
for
else is
sure.
happening that day.
For sure,
So
but,
like, yeah, their whole
what-
thing is like
what's
get in
gonna
there
happen
first.
at E3 now?
Well,
Preemptive strike.
Also, bear in mind, and I don't know if this was an intent, but it certainly is a benefit for these people that released their trailers or announced their games ahead of time, saying more info to come at E3. You take that interest away from people who are desperately clawing at a rumor, trying to find proof beforehand. So many leaks over the last few years, it's ramped up.
Sure.
I guarantee it. Without even needing to do the research, we all feel it. It's ramped up where it's too easy to leak a game. It's too easy to spoil that moment at E3. This feels like a way for somebody to be like, okay, here's a taste. In Fallout's case, it was a really big taste, but like I said, like they're going into it probably thinking, if they're going to show gameplay, that gameplay is a really big deal. Because we just announced the game. A few days later, we're showing you gameplay, and now we're talking about when you're going to be able to play this game. Like, that's a really big deal for them.
My thing is like, let's say I'm a kid, right? And it's Christmas is coming up, and a month out, I'm pretty sure I'm getting a Sega Genesis. I'm not sure.
You've
but
heard a
I'm
lot of
pretty
rumors.
sure.
There's been a lot
I've
of
heard
rumors.
some rumors.
Yeah.
I've heard some rumors.
Uh-huh.
But I'm not sure. I want to wait till Christmas to see the Genesis. I don't want to
Yeah,
know
but-
I'm getting a Genesis a week ahead of time, and then at Christmas I get to play with
But there's
my
a
Genesis.
key. There's a key difference in what you're talking about, Ian. The difference is, in this case, you have no idea what a Sega Genesis actually is. Whereas, like, within the instance you're talking about, you know what the Genesis is. You went over to your friend's place, you played it. You know,
Right.
like, you have proof of concept. You literally just need to, like, physically have that object.
Right.
Whereas we still don't know what Fallout 4 is. We don't really know.
Your parents
We
showed you the
know,
controller.
It's exactly the same as 3. With
There
all
could be
colors.
5 specific story characters, and we just saw one of them.
Yeah,
there
yeah.
could be literally 50% of that game that you play in the old world. There could be all sorts of new ways that you interact with other characters. It could have 4-player co-op. Like you have no idea. There's all sorts of other stuff that they can add on.
I bet you there isn't.
Yeah, your parents, they
That's a
showed you the
safe bet, but
controller.
still.
They showed you a screenshot of Echo the Dolphin, and you're
Right.
like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then they said, nope, okay, we'll show you the rest on Christmas.
Right,
That's what
I'd be
happened.
pissed.
For me, with anticipation, it's a double-edged sword, because on one end it's like, oh, they already came out and they showed this stuff, so they're not going to have anything to talk about later. And on the other end, it's like, well, they all know we're going to be thinking that, so maybe they are putting. It's like poker, you know, maybe they are putting out this good hand, and it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
well,
okay,
let's
I guess
not-
maybe you
yeah,
guys are
let-
going to win the show.
Let's not forget that no matter what, Fallout is not going to be a quick game to show off. You're
Yes.
going to have at
Yeah.
least a 10-minute demo,
Yeah.
probably
Dude,
longer.
Dude, what if they do the thing we've all been dreaming of, and their press conference is like, Fallout 4 out right now?
Yeah,
Oh.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It would be hardcore. That's
Dreamcast
why you
launches
announced
today.
it 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago. Yeah,
Shenmue 3
Dreamcast 3.
out now on Nokia
We're
phones.
skipping to it.
You can download it. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
no one goes to E3. Nobody
Yeah, E3
watches
just
any of the press
breaks,
conferences.
The
Like,
internet stops.
But we also don't forget we have yet to see Doom.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
People that went
Yeah.
to QuakeCon saw Doom.
Yeah.
None of the rest of us have, and
Plus,
that is their.
We've seen
the
about
big card.
seven shattered seconds of
Yeah.
like cinematic trailer, I think.
I'll make a guarantee right now. Bethesda will announce one game that isn't announced right
Yeah.
now at
Sure.
the press conference. It'll
It'll be
happen.
They're having a
Dishonored
press
2,
conference.
and everyone
Yeah,
will be
yeah.
like, meh.
All right, gentlemen, we have to do quick impressions, please. Of course, everyone's favorite segments where we have to just fly. I need your impressions as quickly as possible on these next headlines. Here's something that happened this week. Deep Silver releases the first third of both Metro 23 Redux and Metro Last Light Redux for free on Xbox One and PS4. You play that first third, you keep your save file, you can pay for the last 2/3. Brennan,
always smart when somebody does that. Can't beat free.
Bloodworth.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like a different take on the EA Access. Those games have been around for a while. They've been on PS Plus, I believe, already, and so yeah, I think it's just
Not quick.
The PlayStation 3 versions. Yeah, and so what? What do you like it? Do you think it's a genius? Should more people do this?
Sure, yeah.
Matt
Yes.
Blair. Yes, what?
Just yes. You wanted quick.
That was
Demos
very
are
quick.
good.
Demos are good.
Yeah.
Demos
Well,
are good.
That's not even a demo. That's
a long demo.
8-chapter demo.
Trial, demo, all in the same
Trial. I
category.
like trial. Trial's
Yeah,
good.
I freaking love that. Okay, the DC MOBA Infinite Crisis will close on August 14th, 2015. The game officially launched on March 26th of this year. Already just like, okay, we're pretty much done here. Brandon Jones, your impressions of that?
I'm sad because they're DC, but it's fun because it's like the edge of the galaxy. Like, this is the edge of the MOBA galaxy.
Sure.
This is when the big MOBA bang happened, this is where it stopped.
Daniel Bloodworth.
2 years too late.
Matt Blair.
Not every game can succeed. Sometimes you take a risk, sometimes it doesn't work out.
Wow, those are really good quick impressions, I gotta say. Okay, Steam announced this week that it's offering refunds of 14 days. If you don't like your first 2 hours of the game within 14 days, you can get a full refund on any single game that they sell on Steam. Brennan Jones.
Consumers can't not be happy about that.
Sure. What about publishers?
Yeah, is that going to work out for Steam or is that going to work out for publishers? I imagine it's good. I think on good faith. I don't know. It just seems like good press all around. I think it'll work.
Daniel Bloodworth.
Yeah, it seems like a great move. Maybe there's something in the fine print that could be a problem, but it seems good.
Matt Blair, do you think the console holders will have to follow?
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. Protecting your consumers is a good thing, but
Too long.
it could go wrong. It could go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's some games I bought and played for 2 hours, and I said, oh, I'm done with this. That's definitely happened
Some
to
games
me.
are only 2 hours long.
Yeah, it's like asking for your money back
That actually
halfway
is
through
a good
movie.
point.
Yeah, I wonder if that counts on 2 hour long games. They have said, hey, we'll police this. If you're trying to abuse it, we'll be able to identify that.
How long was Homesick?
It took me about an hour and a half, I think.
Yeah,
Right.
take it back. Take it back to Steam. Lastly, Capcom announces a Mega Man animated series coming 2017. Brennan Jones, quick impressions, please.
I love Mega Man, but won't be watching this and wouldn't be really emotionally invested in it. But it's cool that he's getting a show. Good job, little guy.
Daniel Bloodworth.
I can only hope that they actually have a game in the works to go along with it.
They have to.
And that it's a
that's
good
what
game.
should be implied, right?
Which is the harder part.
More excited for this than the Sonic TV show. I'll say that.
Sure, Matt Blair?
A former silent protagonist now has a voice?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Oh, he's spoken before.
Yeah, it's not the first time.
Oh, sure, even
I'm
in
just
games,
kidding.
even in Mega Man games, you're right.
And in the old show, Captain N.
Okay.
Kyle, what's with this dog? Why a dog for this image?
He's a sad dog when you talk too long.
He's a little
like,
exasperated. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
It's just like, okay.
Just be quick.
Yeah,
please.
it's the end of
the
That's
show.
exactly what
Let's
you're
just
saying.
wrap it up.
If you're-
Quick impressions, please.
If you're a listener,
Kyle has to take that dog on a walk when the show's over,
Yeah.
so he's waiting.
yeah, to anyone who's just in your car listening to this is because I have slates that appear for every news story we cover, and for this one, it's probably the one I might take the most liberties with. Is just a sad-looking dog who's like begging everyone to be quick. Let's do another very quick segment. This is, of course, we got the one who started this conversation. The quick version of that. This is from Quagthias. Here we go. While this has pretty much always been the case, it seems we are lately seeing more examples of games released that are subpar version of the game being shown at expos, even if it's just a trailer. Think of how much work has to be done to get a game ready for showtime like that, work that could have been devoted on focusing on what will become the final game and not a slice of it or proof of concept. My question for the panel is the trade-off worth it? Is it more important to devote resources to show off your game at the right time for optimal hype, or to launch with a product that meets expectations without an air of disappointment? This is, I think, very relevant question, Quagthias, this week because of Fallout 4, which did wait a long time to make its announcement and isn't blowing everyone away misleadingly with graphics. I mean, how does everyone feel about this? Is it worth it to try to get to E3?
Yes. Because I think the games that have launched that have had lots of issues, I haven't really seen that like really directly affect sales. I haven't seen a game come out that I had, yay expectations for that's like, whoa, those sales clearly dropped off because that game was glitchy. It just seems glitchy is like something we complain about a lot, but doesn't really affect their bottom line. Maybe that'll have franchise fatigue, and if it's just like known as being glitchy, But even Fallout 3, which is like one of the most celebrated role-playing games ever created by mankind, just done work. It's like there's all sorts of places where people have broken that game in numerous ways. It's still a huge game, blockbuster.
I love Fallout 3. I had a moment where I had to go to a 3-hour or more old save because my camera control got locked in place. I could not move the camera.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember having
do
to
we
load
think that's
old
because
saves
they had to
a lot.
hurry up for E3?
No. But
Yeah, exactly.
I do think that is a different issue. I think it's weird because with some, so like in the case of say The Witcher 3, in a way like that was them being very ambitious with the type of game that they had never made before, and it sounds like they have like some real regret and more than likely, won't repeat that mistake with Cyberpunk. Like they'll wait till they know like, okay, what can the game actually handle before we show it off. Something like Watch Dogs, there's a lot of other factors into that, man. Like they didn't know what the hardware was going to look like. They probably were like being pushed to put together a demo because Ubisoft wanted their big surprise
For
and they
E3.
wanted to be first to next gen and all this other stuff.
It was a new engine for several teams.
That went way beyond like the development of that game.
What's funny though is I think it worked. I think Watch Dogs sold as well as it did because it showed that well at that E3.
Yes.
And you got to keep in mind too that like it's not like the developers work really long time with a totally separate team and a separate demo just to focus on this side thing and then like send it out to the universe and then get like no feedback at all or just go back to development of their game. Like I imagine you learn a ton from that. It's like you get the whole early reaction of what people actually think about it, what they like, what they don't like. And you look at those headlines and you see like, okay, Watch Dogs came out. What is the one thing that people are like, this game's doing this? And so it's like, okay, everyone focus on that. And we got to make sure that is the best. And when we go out and do interviews and they bring up questions, we know what they're going to be asking us because we already know what they thought of our game because they saw not only a legitimate representation of it, but like our vision, like what we really, really want this game to be.
That's a good point. That
And
is
if
very
people
valuable.
like aren't impressed by the visuals, if the team at Fallout 4 is like, oh, okay, people are really kind of obsessed with graphics. That is really like the only thing they're talking about. Maybe we should spend a little more time and like give this dog fur.
Yeah. No, you're right. That's invaluable. That's like
I'd imagine. I don't know.
A
that
lot
for
of
sure.
money and resources goes into E3. It's hard to see the returns on all of that, but it is for things like that. It is for just like the attention. Being trending on Twitter is worth millions.
Like people
for
talk
something.
about exit polls way more than I believe is necessary whenever elections come around, and like E3's exit polls for Q4 when the sales come out, just like who's gonna win this, who's in the lead right now.
Though to be fair, Evolve was going to win this at this point last year. Do you know what I mean?
Right, but Evolve got delayed.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. It
After
came out.
E3.
It came out in February, didn't it?
Yeah,
you're
it
right.
came out the year later. So
Also,
it come
without
out,
that, like, look at what the game really is. It's actually very specific. Like, when you get the chance to hype in front of a ton of people saying you can kill monsters and all this crazy stuff, like, very broad strokes of the game that try to hype it up and make it look really cool, but at the end of the day, it's completely multiplayer. There's no, like, it was part of that kind of Titanfall-esque thing where it's just like we're making this one game, this one experience, and it's very concise. But they wanted it to sell like an Uncharted game. They wanted it to sell like Call of Duty, right? Like,
well, no,
that's their
they
chance
wanted to
do
sell
it.
better than Call of Duty. Well, not
They always do. It always comes down to business, right?
Ian's dying to say something. What's up, Ian?
I was just wondering, do you think, because if I was running some kind of like game development studio, I would keep my A machines on the table and my B machines in the drawer. Like I would keep the people making the game, and I'd have B team.
They actually
make
do that.
the E3 thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, it shouldn't impact the game whatsoever.
Well, it's usually a task force of some kind that's been part of the main team. Like it's expensive enough as it is to maintain a full staff working overtime hours all the time.
Yeah, it's all resources, Ian. Like if they didn't have that B team working on the demo, they could still be people working on the actual game.
Yeah. Well, and that's one reason we're not going to see Zelda this year, probably. Is because they don't have that resource to make an E3 demo.
Yeah.
That they would have to somehow close off that game and give you a smaller chunk of it.
Yeah.
Would you call it a misconception or just plain old ignorance to, like, it feels like people don't really understand that behind the business, the people actually doing the work are humans. They're us. They're people. Right?
I wouldn't say it's a misconception. I think that it's just this is a stinky part of the business in that people are working very hard and spending a ton of money to make E3 happen.
I love it. Smells good to me.
You have to take a huge chunk out of your budget to make E3 happen.
I love it.
But it's just necessary.
But that part of the business has never been like very transparent. And like now with digital age, everything is getting more transparent and some people aren't really controlling the way that looks. But, it's hard to grasp the reality when people get so mad about, oh, I deserve this when I hear about a game announcement and all of these things. It's like, these are some people that are working hard to make a game. Some people are better than others. And crunch time is something that happens around E3. Crunch time is something that happens around launch. And it's terrible for these people, but that sort of thing is terrible for everybody. When you're having to meet a deadline and it's very stressful and you're doing a lot more work than you usually do in a smaller amount of time, all of that sort of stuff happens almost everywhere for things like this, for E3 announcements, launch, events, things of that nature. It's also sometimes where people do their best work, right? And so you touched on it right away, where you're like, when people are hurrying up, you learn a lot because you start to get more efficient. You start to figure out how to make things work in ways. And that's why we have this symptom of downgrades these days, right? Because at the end of the day, when they show off what they really want to do with this game, they're trying to tell you the experience and how it's going to look and all this thing. When it comes crunch time, you have to start making sacrifices. That's just the way it is because you've been given an amount of time and an amount of money to make a game.
Yeah, Quackthais.
If you don't do it, you're fired. You're done.
Quackthais here is imagining a world without that.
Right, and that's the problem.
Imagine not having that. Like how good that game would be.
That would be fantastic. A perfect world would be great in many ways.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, or at the end of the year, or whatever, or the quarter, usually, you've got time and money. Make the most of it, because if you don't, then we're going to find somebody else who's better than you. That's the reality of people who are making games.
Well, and there's also the reality of, aside from those factors, I mean, anyone that's ever produced anything, even like one of our little videos or episodes, it's like you go into a project thinking you're going to make one thing. Chances are, if you make the thing you thought you were going to make exactly the way you thought, you probably didn't do a good enough job. You probably weren't ambitious enough.
Whoa. Bloodworth. That's
you need
deep,
to change
man.
a lot of stuff, and sometimes you have to kill your babies because that actually isn't very good.
You're saying you have to kill your baby or else you did a bad job. That baby has to die.
In many ways, yes.
Okay.
If you're not failing, it means you're not aiming high enough.
Also,
okay. All right.
Fair.
That seems motivational, but also pessimistic to me. Anyway, it is
no,
time
it can
for bets.
happen though.
Let's talk about The Elder Scrolls Online, Tamriel Unlimited, coming to Xbox One and PlayStation 4 next week. Big deal. The Elder Scrolls Online currently has 87,214 followers on Google+. Pretty good on Google+ standards.
Google+.
Where will that number be next week? Brandon Jones, it is your turn to reveal first.
105,000.
Wow. That's a lot of Google+ followers. I think it's going to be 92,345. Matt Blair.
I don't want
to. Please.
91,073.
That's a good one. And Daniel Bloodworth?
87,100.
I'm way high.
So you don't think it's going to expand that much, huh? You think it's going to go down?
It's already gone down since you put that number on the sheet.
It's already gone down.
Google+,
no.
You're so weird, Google+. Oh
More people are playing this game? Unfollow.
Well, I mean, yeah. Not necessarily more people have played it since last night to this morning.
Please, I forget every time how this works.
Yeah.
If you overbid, you're
Doesn't
done.
matter. No. It's
It's just closest, closest give or take.
It's the person closest. Yep. So let me lock those in now that Matt is clear. Yeah, you can still win this, Matt. You were feeling so unsure.
I should have clarified that before I wrote down my answer like an hour ago.
I think you got this, Matt. I think you probably have the best bet. But let's talk about last week's bet. Talking about Splatoon, which released last Friday. If you do a search for Splatoon on DeviantArt.com, last week you got 2,923 results. What will the number be at this time this week? Blood bet 2,970. Again, he went with the low bet. Brandon Jones went 3,200. I went 3,412. Ben in the super seat bet 3,300. So I have the highest bet, which is the winning bet, because right now there are 4,561.
Doubled.
It's almost, yeah. It's an increase of like 1,500 DeviantArt submissions of Splatoon.
And Safe Search was on both times?
Safe Search was definitely on. I definitely kept Safe Search on.
All right.
Art is an addiction.
That you're not gaming the system.
It's all art. All that stuff is art.
Those are some cool looking characters. They're very unique, I would say.
Yeah.
That'd be fun to draw.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what's crazy is Nintendo, they put out a new IP finally. It happened.
It's a very unique IP from top to bottom. The gameplay, the characters, the modes.
You're right, because I mean, like, Codename Steam is also a new IP from Nintendo, but nobody's doing fan art of that. I mean, people obviously are, but yeah. No,
Steampunk's a big deal.
And that game is not a big deal.
No.
That game didn't, it didn't do that. It didn't have that impact, and Splatoon did, and I think that's remarkable, to be honest.
I have a unfounded wondering.
Okay.
I wonder what the average age of DeviantArt artists is, because Splatoon is definitely aiming at that, like, early, mid-90s kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I wonder if like DeviantArt people are from that kind of age range and they gravitate toward that. I wonder.
I think also like if you're a high school kid, you're way into this because it feels like a kind of cool thing to ironically kind of like in high school.
Well, the 90s are coming back.
It doesn't impose itself on you. It's not like trying to teach you lessons about being a teenager or anything like that, really, is it?
Yeah, no, and it's not trying to be cool either.
It's just a bunch of characters running around having fun painting things.
It's also about color.
Yeah.
It's like anybody who's just like red, like I can see them being really inspired by that. I also get a strong tagging vibe from it. I mean, you're a bunch of graffiti artists basically running around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think that's.
I saw a lot of people like spelling things in the game and then putting them up.
So how many 8 to 12-year-old kids are gonna be running around with a paint roller on fences like I'm having fun?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to be political about it. I think it's a huge deal that women and men are equally represented in Splatoon. I think it's honestly a huge reason why this happens as well.
It's a very forward-thinking children's game.
It is. I think it's actually really cool. Go Nintendo. You did it. Awesome. That does mean, however, that I get a point. That brings our score to Super Seat 8, tied with Bloodworth at 8, Brennan Jones at 2, and Mr. Bossman now at 5 points. All right. That feels good.
Oh, yeah, that was a correction that no one corrected.
Well, I corrected it just now. Last week I said I had 3 points when in fact I had 4 because I copied and pasted from the wrong week. You know what? It happens. Anyway, I do certainly have 5 points, and now also I get 2 things. I get to promote 1 video and I get to close out the show. The video I'm promoting is actually a strange one. I just want to make people aware of this. We're doing our 10 days countdown to E3. Last year we did 30 days. This year we're doing 10. We're focusing.
Brandon's hating you for bringing that up right now.
Yeah. Why? That we're doing a reduced? That we're doing 10 instead of 30? It's all
our
killer.
E3 coverage will be equally as cool.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cool.
Yep.
We'll
concentrated awesome.
The amount our staff was reduced.
We are not doing a third of the E3 coverage.
That's literally true, Ian.
I never thought about that.
Oh, ouch. Oh, look, we're
It's
doing.
like, what are you worth? Like about 4 countdown to E3 videos. 3 to 4, basically.
2.5 countdown to E3 videos.
Yeah.
Oh God! All I'm saying is,
so depressing.
those are cool videos. You get hyped for E3. I love being hyped for E3, but also they have very interesting things that happen at the very end of them.
Voiced and cut the first episode, and
Yeah.
like I got hyped while watching it, like while proving it. Just like, yeah, E3.
Yeah, E3 is coming.
Yeah.
It was EA. EA is their first
Battlefront,
episode.
yeah.
So that's the video I wanted to promote. Let me close this out. Here are our Twitter names for listeners. Matt Blair, what is your Twitter name?
Did you actually pick? So the first video is the video that you picked? Which one?
Yeah, we'll say that, but I want everybody to watch all 10, obviously, and in sequence.
He has to actually put the link in.
How can you not?
Yeah, so put a EA in there. You got to start at the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because
Sorry, what was the thing you just asked me then?
What is your Twitter handle, man?
Oh, Mattias14.
Yep. I'll buy it.
Spell it like it sounds.
You tweet about as much as I do.
I know. Well, I've been good lately.
Oh, really?
Ish.
Okay. Then I've been bad. So, Daniel Bloodworth, what is your Twitter handle?
D Bloodworth 2.
Uh-huh.
GameTrailers VO.
At Kyle Bossman.
Oh, you looked at me.
Yeah, I need
I'm
that.
at Ian Hink.
We never give at Ian Hink any credit at the end of these shows, but I'm there for you. When I win a bet, we're going to hear at Ian Hink.
Thanks, Kyle.
Everyone, thank you so much for watching, for listening, for streaming, for downloading. It is all appreciated. We'll be back here next week, same time, same Thursday night or Friday morning, whenever you get it, or sometimes you get it over the weekend.
Nailing it.
Nailing it.
Okay.
Doing a good job.
And now to close it out,
Derailed.
everyone, you must remember that tomorrow is forever all ours.
Wow.
I love.